I had a total hysterectomy and went into surgical menopause at 35 years old. And in this video, I want to share why I chose that, what led up to the decision to have this surgery, what the 2 weeks post-op looked like. I documented quite a bit of it, and then also an update. I just had my 2-week post-op appointment. And then I want to share a little bit about what I am doing to rebuild my goal body to get into my fittest, healthiest, hottest body ever. I realize the topic of a hysterectomy is kind of niche, but woven into this story is perimenopause, menopause, hormone replacement therapy. And as someone who lost 100 pounds naturally in her 20s/30s, now I am getting ready to go through this kind of body recomp transformation in my mid-30s. So if any of those things are affecting you, you're curious about any of that, then stick around. All right, I need to make this video because I have been sharing my life as it relates to my health and my body since my oldest was born, and he's turning 13 this year. I documented 2 rounds of postpartum with him and his younger brother, who's 10. I documented the stages after that where they were toddlers, and even just like different life stages. Like I went through a divorce, I went back to school and started my business. I met my now husband. I went through some really scary health obstacles, which kind of ties into all of this. And through each of those stages and phases of my life, I shared and I documented, especially the process of getting my health and my body in check. And now we have another chapter to add to the book. So like I mentioned, I'm currently 35. I turn 36 this year, and I just went through this total hysterectomy that did include my ovaries gone, surgical menopause, all of it. And this chapter, dare I say, feels the most life-changing aside from obviously like becoming a mom. I mean, a lot is changing. I no longer have cycles. I'm on HRT. I'm older now. And honestly, just sharing my life online, these parts of my story play a role and they pop up. And I wanted to document this process for a few reasons, but one of them being so that I can really point ladies who come into my world and are curious, like, why are you postmenopausal at 35 years old? Why are you on hormone replacement therapy? I wanted to create, a piece of content that I could always point somebody back to that just shares my story and talks about why in the world this happened. Because at the end of the day, having this surgery was a choice. It wasn't something that happened to me like an emergency. Also, so many women have hysterectomies, and everybody's story is so incredibly different. Like no one hysterectomy story, even if there's similarities, looks exactly the same because everybody is so individual. And something that was really helping me as I was kind of going through this process of learning more about all of these health issues, trying to decide if this was the right thing for me because it was a choice that I made. Seeing other people's stories and just being able to take away from that, learn about all of this was really, really helpful for me. And so I want to be able to help anybody else who might be looking at a possible hysterectomy, looking at hormone replacement therapy, really just any of it. I want this to be able to be a resource and maybe some help for them as well. Also the post-op side of things, because if you know that you are going to have a hysterectomy, just being able to see like literally what that looks like for somebody else can honestly be really comforting. So all in all, I hope that by me sharing this, it's really just helpful to anyone who comes across my page. Now for the disclaimers, first and foremost, I am not a doctor. This is not medical advice. This is literally just my story. I do not have all the answers. I do not have it all figured out, and I am definitely not going to speak on things that I don't understand. When I get into the part where I share about my symptoms, what I was going through, and that ultimately led me to make this really massive decision to have this surgery, go into surgical menopause, I'm not saying that somebody else having this surgery is gonna fix these problems for them. I'm not saying that hormone replacement is the right thing for everyone. This is literally just documentation of me, my story, what happened, and I will always encourage you to go to your doctor and talk to them about anything that you're going through. I am also only 2 weeks post-op, so things are a little bit new, things could change, but I'm gonna be really honest, after everything I've been through, I am choosing to believe, I am putting out into the universe, especially because I just met with my doctor and got such good news, that everything that has improved for me, everything that I'm feeling is only going to continue to get better, but we gotta call it what it is. It's still early on in the healing process, but I didn't wanna wait and document things months down the road. Right now, while everything is still fresh and new and like on my mind, sometimes like that messy middle part is the part that's missing. We see the like after, but I wanted to show, and document this process all throughout. So it is still kind of new. We're only 2 weeks out. Things could totally change, but I wanted to just document where we're at today. The last disclaimer that I want to give about this is I feel like this is extremely sensitive subject matter for so many women. When we're talking about reproductive organs, so many women struggling when it comes to things like endometriosis, deciding to have a hysterectomy, fertility struggles. I want to just acknowledge right now that I am in a place of privilege because I was finished having children. I hold so much space for the woman who is going through all of this and wants to have her own children, wants to have more children, has been unsuccessful because of these issues. I see you. I feel so much love in my heart for anybody who is having those struggles. And I totally recognize that I am in a very different place because I was done having children, and that made this decision and this process easier, period. If there is a common thread that I feel like I can pull, it is the lesson in all of this is to advocate for yourself. It is to not give up. Do not believe that you're crazy, that there's not answers out there. There are doctors who will listen, and I know that that is not so easily done when it comes to especially the American healthcare system, and I know that it is a struggle, but I just want to encourage any woman who is having any of the issues that I'm talking about today to continue to advocate for herself. Find a doctor who will truly listen. All right, let's get into why I had this surgery. I'm going to take some sips of coffee. I didn't want this to be a super long video, but there's no way to make this short. So here we go. All right, I've got notes over here because we have a timeline and I just want to make sure that I historically get things accurate. So why I had a hysterectomy and chose surgical menopause really all goes back to spring 2023. I had a traumatic health event. I am not going to make this video any longer and get into what that looks like, but basically it led to back-to-back surgeries within a 1 week period that saved my life, but unfortunately caused me to lose my right ovary as well as my right tube. And again, at that time, my doctor who had delivered both of my boys, he knew I didn't want to have any more children. So in that second surgery, when I lost the ovary, lost the tube due to an infection that I was dealing with, he was like, hey, we can go ahead and take the other one and then we don't have to worry about birth control from here on, because I had just had an IUD placed and we knew we weren't going to be able to do that anymore. So I'm like, okay, go ahead and take the other tube. Let's go. Prior to that, I had been on a hormonal IUD the entire 8 years after I'd given birth to my youngest. Again, I knew I was done having children, and so the IUD was awesome. I know everyone has such different experiences with that. For me, perfect, 10 out of 10, no notes. I never had a single issue ever. So coming out of that surgery where I lost the ovary and I had my tubes removed was really the first time in my adult life where I hadn't been on birth control. It was, like many women my age, put on birth control from a young age. Then I had kids. Then I had the hormonal birth control, the IUD. And then after I had my tubes removed, it's like, well, I don't need birth control. So it was the first time that I had ever not been on it. It's also important to note that I was told at the time that because I still had an ovary, that there would be no problem, no issues. There shouldn't be any hormonal issues. I was still going to produce eggs. I was still going to ovulate. I just couldn't get pregnant. And so I really bought into that belief. I really believed that, there was no way that there was going to be any issues at all. So that is in March, April 2023. Honestly, pretty uneventful until the end of that year in December. Right before Christmas, I started having a ton of pain and issues in my pelvic area, which led me to the ER, which led us to find out that I had an ovarian cyst that had popped up on that one remaining left ovary. Now, to my knowledge at this point, I had never had an ovarian cyst before. And my doctor, because of what we had just gone through earlier in the year, to be extra safe, and because it was kind of a bigger cyst, said, we got to do surgery and get rid of that thing. But we kind of marked it as like, not a big deal, just something that happened, like move on. And I even remember asking him at that time, is this going to be a recurring problem? Like, am I going to be always having surgeries? And the answer was just like, no, this really shouldn't be a problem going forward. Which, to be fair, we flipped the calendar into 2024. And 2024 was actually pretty uneventful. I definitely had, looking back now, some things that popped up, some signs and symptoms of things that weren't exactly normal. But for the most part, like 2024 was really uneventful. No more cysts, no more struggles. I didn't feel any hormonal fluctuations. So I kind of thought, okay, we're good to go. And then 2025 happened. 2025 is when everything changed. So I'm recording this in the beginning of February 2026. So it was literally exactly 1 year ago that all of this took off. And honestly, all of the pictures have started to kind of like resurface and screenshots that I was saving. And it's like a little bit even tough to look at now that I'm on the other side of it, because at that time, I just had no idea what was in store for my year. So despite all of those surgeries, like again, I really didn't have any pain. I didn't have a lot of issues. So at the beginning of January 2025, when I started having this really intense pelvic pain, I was like, what is happening? Like, I'm talking a lot of pain. At first, I just thought like maybe it was my cycle, but then I was like, oh great. Remember when I had that cyst before? It kind of reminds me of that. I also developed a pregnant looking stomach overnight. And I don't mean like body fat or like food baby. I'm talking like the type of stomach that you have, when it feels like it's like a bowling ball or like a watermelon, where it is like as hard as a rock. Literally went from like the way that I normally looked, in fact, I'll include a picture, to this like stomach, along with this insane pelvic pain. This led me to 3 ER visits in the month of January 2025 alone. CT scans said everything's fine. It wasn't until I had an ultrasound in my doctor's office, because I was like, everything is not fine. You guys are gonna figure out what's wrong with me. And I was hearing all kinds of things, about what it could be, or that I just needed pelvic floor physical therapy. And I'm just thinking, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, like my stomach looks like this, my pain level is this. I don't think I just need like physical therapy. So it was that doctor's visit that they did a vaginal ultrasound and saw that, oh, there is actually a cyst on her ovary, and the CT scans just didn't pick it up. The important thing about this is that at the time when they found the cyst, they were like, it's really not that big. It's just a functional cyst. This comes as a part of the process with your cycle. A lot of people have these. They're not painful. They're not problematic. And honestly, that's like the problem with all of this, because I'm being told that this is normal and everything's fine. And I am like, everything is not fine. This pain level is not normal. My stomach feeling and looking like this is misery. And that is when my list of symptoms started. I just thought that the pelvic pain and the hard baby bump was bad. Oh my gosh, it got so much worse. And this, you guys, is where I need to refer to my list. And I also just feel like I need to give this disclaimer right here, right now. If you are dealing with any of these issues, I urge you to please talk to your doctor about them. Obviously, I was talking to my doctor about them and not getting anywhere, but as you'll hear, like, these are not normal. Okay, this is not normal. All right, number one, the most intense brain fog and fatigue that like I could not get out of. I mean, overnight, it was like somebody put this fog in my head and like a mask over my eyes. There was just this like haze I cannot even explain. And my ADHD symptoms went through the roof. And I will never forget kind of like crying to my mom around this time, like February now, like weeks have kind of gone by where I've had all this pain, and I'm like, what if I'm stuck like this? As an entrepreneur, solo business owner, somebody who really prioritizes health, brain health, memory, cognitive function, like all of this, like I love the brain. I'm like, my brain feels like it is failing me. What if I'm stuck like this? I'm literally like crying to my mom about it. And spoiler alert, I was stuck like this for the whole rest of the year. So intense brain fog and also just fatigue. The second really bad one, heart palpitations, anxiety, and panic attacks. Multiple panic attacks that sent me to urgent care, okay? Now, I also just wanna note really quickly that if you look at like my chart with my doctor's visits inside of our healthcare system, there's like a 10-year period where I don't go to the doctor outside of like my OB at all. Like I'm just not somebody who gets sick very often. In my adult life, I really truly haven't. I typically, if I am sick, just kind of roll through it and let it like work itself out. All of a sudden, I am at the doctor's office like weekly or every other week, showing up to urgent care and being like, something is wrong. Like now my body feels like it's failing me. It's not just pelvic pain. My body feels like it's failing me. And this really was a ton of like heart palpitations and anxiety that just came out of nowhere. As somebody who struggles with anxiety and has my whole life, my anxiety's always been very like pointed. I could understand like when I got anxious, what the reason was. There was always, stressors or something that led to it. But this would be like sitting on the couch and suddenly my heart rate is going so crazy. I'm fighting for my life. Like, I'm not even kidding. I wish that I were being dramatic about this. So this also caused a lot of overthinking, ruminating thoughts, my ADHD symptoms, everything, things that I already had. Like I already had some of this. They weren't brand new to me, but it was like a heightened sensation and just like everything was on steroids basically. And this led me to a development of health anxiety. I've never had health anxiety in my life, but this led me to searching and researching and genuinely feeling crazy, okay? Extreme pelvic pain, like I mentioned, pressure, feeling like I was carrying around bricks in like where my belly button was and like below that whole pelvic area. It was just like I was constantly carrying around this heaviness and it just felt like a ton of bricks in my stomach, and the pressure and the pain was so intense. That pregnant looking stomach that would really come and go. That was kind of the weird part. I'd have these days where I would look like my normal self, and then out of absolutely nowhere, I would just look completely different. And it had nothing to do with how I was eating, body fat, any of it. As the year progressed in 2025, I stayed where I looked more pregnant for more like longer amounts of time. Overall inflammation and puffiness that I just didn't have before. Like sure, like certain times of the month or maybe like after a vacation, I would have this inflammation, but all of a sudden I was just experiencing like intense inflammation. Like even wearing my wedding rings right now, like crazy, I could barely even wear them. Digestive issues, nausea, bathroom issues, not being able to like tolerate foods. I used to eat like no problems. I didn't have a ton of digestive issues suddenly. Like every morning I would have this nausea. Every time I went to the bathroom, just felt like it was just not normal. Bladder issues that got progressively worse throughout the year as well, needing to go to the bathroom more and more. Again, that intense pressure, but also like waking in the night. In fact, the entire like 2 months leading up to my surgery, there was times where I was getting up 3 and 4 times a night to go to the bathroom. Which brings me to sleep. Having trouble falling asleep, all these heart palpitations at bedtime as I was falling asleep, anxiety, racing thoughts, but also just not being able to like physically wind down. It felt like my body was just in this constant like stimulation and overdrive. And as I was trying to fall asleep, again, just these like ruminating thoughts and anxiety that as I would drift off, I'd wake up and I'd be like stressing and worrying. And it just really felt like I was in like survival mode. Like my body was fighting for its life. And then when I would wake up, I never felt rested. Like all of 2025, every morning when I got up and I, did my morning routine, I just felt like my brain had never actually shut off and I hadn't like hit that reset and been able to refresh. The night sweats. Oh my gosh, the night sweat. Absolutely disgusting night sweats. I'm talking waking up completely drenched, like sheets soaked, and I would be shivering and cold, yet I would be sweating like crazy, like a puddle of sweat. Changes to my hair, thinning and also more grays. My hairdresser was like, girl, what is going on? And really, I probably attribute that more to stress, but I have to note it. Skin issues that I never had before. I developed dermatitis and I could not even wear my wedding ring that I had worn for all the years before. Never had an issue with it before. Patchiness, and then also breakouts specifically on my chest, but sometimes on my back and on my face. Again, just like a level of breakouts that I, prior to 2025, just really didn't have. If I did, it was so random. Shoulder pain that really affected me in the gym. I could not do any kind of overhead press for a while. And again, this just came on really randomly. There wasn't like an injury in the gym that I could note. It was just that suddenly I was having this shoulder pain in my left shoulder. Sciatic pain that started in my lower back, would radiate into my glute, down my leg, into my knee, into my foot, that made exercising, sitting, running, stretching impossible, like literally impossible. And at times where I would sit for like 45 minutes, when I went to get up, I genuinely could not walk. And the last thing to note, worsening allergy symptoms. This one is a little bit random, but it wasn't until actually a few months ago that I put this one together, because I went to see my doctor multiple times to see an allergist. I had a CT of my sinuses done, trying to figure out like what is going on here. But I had like some little, allergy issues and things like in the spring and at certain points in the fall. But all of a sudden I was dealing with like around the clock post-nasal drip, chronic post-nasal drip, and sinus pressure, headaches, like allergy-like symptoms all the time. This led me to a diagnosis of allergic asthma, using an inhaler when I need to, and also just like some lung issues where it just felt like, I was just having trouble breathing, again, sort of like the asthma side of things. Okay, all of this started in 2025, and as the year progressed, it just got louder and louder and worse and worse. So back to that appointment where we realized that this is an ovarian cyst after all. Even though my doctor is telling me these are normal functional cysts, they really shouldn't cause a lot of pain, I'm telling him this is causing me a ton of pain and I'm miserable. These symptoms are getting worse. And so that's when we're like, okay, well, let's do some blood work and look. And what do you know? My blood work really doesn't look bad at all. My testosterone was a little bit low, but otherwise everything was within normal. I think what we were looking to see was, was I in menopause? And when we looked at things like my estrogen levels, I wasn't. This is the point when I start gaslighting myself, because I'm like, well, they're telling me this pain is normal. These cysts are normal. My blood work's fine. Thankfully, it was about this point where I just start doing my own research. I start looking at things like endometriosis. Is it possible, since these cysts are normal, that endometriosis is causing this? Or, something else is really just going on. And that leads me down the rabbit hole of, kind of starting to understand that everyone's pain and tolerance to things is a unique experience, and everybody, experiences things differently. And also leading me to learn more about, just because your labs are within normal range doesn't mean that they're balanced properly for you. So we decided that we're just gonna monitor this cyst. And what would happen is it would rupture, and that was absolute misery. That's when my hormones and all of these symptoms would really flare up. Everything I just described would just go through the roof. I would be in the worst pain. It was absolutely debilitating. But the kicker is that whereas most of the time it just kind of goes away, mine would just instantly refill. So I literally never got relief ever. So finally in May, we decide we're gonna do surgery, and we're not gonna do anything permanent, but what we're gonna do instead is go in and remove the cyst, see if there's any endometriosis or anything going on here. But my doctor was just really adamant that taking my ovary, doing a hysterectomy was just really permanent. And by taking my one remaining ovary, that would send me into surgical menopause. And he just was not comfortable with that. So the Band-Aid fix was, let's just go remove the cyst and see what happens. So that happens. He removes the cyst. He does find some endometriosis. It was superficial, but removes that. And now I am on to a healing journey, and I am trying so hard to just be positive. And I'll tell you, I had 4 weeks of bliss, 4 weeks where I remembered what life felt like before. I felt like my normal self. It was amazing. And during that time, no cyst until the cyst came back. Back in the ER, get a CT scan. What do you know? Here's another cyst. My symptoms are, again, worse than ever. The pain is worse than ever. And I'm just like, I'm stuck like this. I literally just felt like I was stuck like this. I don't even want to get into right now where my mental health went during this time, but I can say, like, with complete transparency, I absolutely hit rock bottom. And just knowing I could not live like this anymore, I said, I've got to make a move. I have got to switch doctors and find somebody who will help me fix this and will help me get my life back, because my quality of life at this point was so bad. And I was not getting like the actual help that I needed. And I understood that surgical menopause was a huge decision. It was a life-altering decision, okay? Taking organs out even is just a life-altering decision. But I knew, because I was living in my body, what my quality of life was. And I finally knew, like, I am willing to risk anything because I genuinely cannot live like this. It was very difficult for me to do, to switch doctors. As somebody who's really loyal and had just been through so much with my doctor, this is like one of the hardest parts of the process, but it was hands down, the best thing I ever did for myself. I knew within the first 10 minutes of conversation with my now doctor that everything was gonna be okay. Like I believed for the first time, oh, I'm not actually stuck like this. There is a fix. So we created a plan that we were gonna try some things. I tried birth control to try to suppress, tried a couple different things, and had some like glimmers of hope, but we had such a regimented monitoring process. I'm talking, this was the best experience. It was like from day one appointment, it was like, we're gonna check this. Ultrasounds were scheduled, everything, like the level of care was just amazing. And we had a game plan, and I felt so confident. I was willing to try the birth control, see if that worked. Again, we had some little moments where we thought like maybe, but ultimately it just didn't pan out. Birth control did not work. It did not suppress. Every single time we did an ultrasound, there was another cyst that had ruptured and regrown. And again, at this point, now we're towards the end of the year, it's fall, my symptoms are just like stacking and getting worse and worse. So at that last appointment where we saw the cyst and we realized that all the options had really been tested, I had my total, breakdown moment, shed some tears, and my doctor looked at me and was like, girl, you don't need to be afraid of surgical menopause. You don't need to be afraid of hormone replacement therapy. We got that. That's easy. You need to be afraid of spending another year, even another month like this. And I'm not gonna lie, I was terrified. The whole reason I had really delayed, going for this surgery, it was always an option that I knew that I could do. But the whole reason that I kind of delayed it was I was scared. I was terrified of going into surgical menopause. I've heard so many, stories out there, all the horror stories about how your quality of life just becomes terrible and all of this. And it's not to downplay that, but that was really all I saw. I wasn't seeing, any pleasant, happy endings at all. I was definitely looking in the wrong places, to be fair, but it was a very hard decision because it's not something that you can go back on. I'm only 35. So for me, having to be on hormone replacement therapy is the next 10, 15 years of my life, maybe even more. My doctor made me feel so incredibly safe, supported, her knowledge, like I just knew that it was time. I was at my wit's end, and I trusted that she was telling me and leading me down the right path as well. So on January 19th, I walked into that hospital. I said, let's freaking go. And I had my hysterectomy. I went into my surgical menopause, and I really want to just show what those 2 weeks after have looked like. Today, I am officially 15 days post-op. I just had my post-op appointment, my first appointment with my doctor. Got kind of my, pathology and some of the things that, I really wanted to talk to her about, checked off. And I want to share that, but I also want to just show what the 2 weeks looked like, because I know there are so many women who might be afraid of, what this can look like, what this surgery is like. But I, for one, have had an incredible experience with it. So let's roll the footage of the last 2 weeks. And I'm gonna use, some text on the screen to kind of stamp, what day it was, where I was in the process. I definitely recorded some talking videos. You've been warned, okay? The day after video, some of these videos, I was rewatching it back. I was like, oh goodness. But it's real life, and I want to just show all of it, the good, the bad, the ugly, and just share what my process was like, and then talk about where I'm at 2 weeks post-op. So let's roll the footage. It is the morning after my hysterectomy, so not quite 24 hours. It's 7:21 and surgery was at like 9:30ish. But it's the next morning and full hysterectomy. My one remaining ovary gone, surgical menopause. And yeah, now it's time to recover. I'm on some pain meds. I'm hoping to get off of those as quickly as possible. I'm not like a fan. I don't really love them. So hoping I can kind of shift to ibuprofen, but also not going to try and be a hero. I've tried that in the past. This was my 5th surgery. So I know better than to do that. Give myself the grace the first couple days and use them, and then switch to ibuprofen. Feeling okay. I'm not gonna show you guys my incisions because they are gross. Even though they're covered, I'm still having some bleeding and stuff, so hopefully can get in the shower later today and kind of clean up and all of that. Currently it's the gas pains that are killing me. They're like in my shoulders and my chest. I feel like I'm not even talking like my normal self right now because of it, but like taking a deep breath, so painful, just sharp. Again, I've had these surgeries, so I know it's the gas that they pump you up with. It just takes a while. That's partly why I'm up and moving. Try to get up every hour and just move around, try and get that gas out and reduce blood clot risk, all that good stuff. I actually started my hormone replacement. I've got a patch on right here. Started it immediately last night when we got the prescription filled after surgery. So curious to take you guys along on that journey and see how it goes. Obviously it's like too soon to know how that's working for me. And I also have to call my doctor because I think we got the wrong patch. I'm supposed to be on like a combination estrogen and progesterone. And I looked up the patch last night because I noticed it didn't look like it had the progesterone, and sure enough, it's just the estrogen. So I think we got to get that sorted out. But yeah, my pain is actually pretty minimal. I've had moments where it feels like it's hurting worse, but I honestly feel like it's just the gas moving around. Like my incisions are sore, kind of feel like I did like an intense ab workout. But yeah, I mean, I'm really not in like terrible pain. I think I've been in pain for so long with all of this that it's just like, this is like really nothing. Anyways, I actually want to show you guys my little setup that I've got going on. Post hysterectomy journey. Definitely wanted to document for the ladies who might go through this at some point or are currently going through it alongside me. So yeah, let's go look at my little bedside setup. Wait, pause. Totally have to give this update. Cannot even believe like some of the relief I already have from certain things. It's too soon to tell with everything, but I had this pain this whole year with all of my, ovarian cysts, like all these issues in my right glute, shooting down my leg, down the back of my leg, into my knee, and even my foot at times, okay? Immediate relief. Immediate relief. That part is totally gone. It is insane. Too hard to tell with like some of the other stuff, but also, even though I'm extremely bloated and puffy from, I'm still full of air and fluids and all that, the baby bump feeling that I had for so long now is just gone. It's literally just gone. So again, only time will tell with some of this stuff, especially pain-wise, but like I'm telling you, the sciatic thing is insane. I instantly felt relief when I first got up to walk to go to the bathroom in the hospital. I was like, wait, I normally have to hobble because of that pain. And I was hobbling for different reasons, but world of difference. So I'm already so pleased and so happy that I did this. So, okay, now let's go look. You guys can see this, but my mom got me so many gifts. We actually had a cake. I'll share a picture of the cake and little pizza party the day before, and she came with all the gifts. I also had some socks on in the hospital. I'll put that picture on here as well. But my blanket here says what my socks said: monthly subscription canceled. So got my blanket. I got these wedge pillows off Amazon as like a last minute thing when I realized like everyone just talks about how it's easier if you're in a recliner, but the two recliners we have, in fact, that's actually a recliner over there. You have to push down with your legs. So, that wasn't going to work. Obviously, I can't really use my abdominal muscles. So we got this set up, and I think it's got several pieces. Not even all of them are in here, but this was amazing last night for my first night. I ended up taking that part off and putting just a regular pillow, but for daytime while I'm trying to get some stuff done and sit up, got that. And then this goes under your knees. Your feet go into this. So it's really, really nice. This part can also flip over onto your thighs, and then you can put your like laptop or book or whatever on it. So that's really nice. So just kind of the bed setup, got my heating pad. I've got some paper and pens. I'm feeling kind of creative actually. So I thought, you know what, maybe I'll write down some ideas. I've got some ideas for things I want to do inside of our Goal Body Academy for my clients and my community. So I want to jot those down while I am fresh brained with it. Okay, so also got this like medical table off Amazon. Dave was like insistent that this was going to be a game changer, and he was totally right. It already has been. So I've got all my little gifts. I've got 99 problems, but a uterus ain't one. You can see my uterus doll over there, a little plushie, and then goodbye uterus. She was kind of cramping my style. So we've got like the whole theme is definitely rocking and rolling. So I'm trying to drink a little bit of coffee. I'm actually hoping that will help me go to the bathroom. I really am having no trouble going pee, but the bowel movement is definitely going to be a problem because of the medicines that I'm taking, and even my like nausea medicine always causes problems. So got my water bottle, remote for fan and TV. Oh, we don't do TV in our bedroom, but we have this TV that we put outside on our back patio during sports season. So had Dave move it in here. Just feel like for the first few days, that'll be nice. And it actually worked out well. Last night we watched the national championship, the college football, all from the bed all together with the boys, which was really nice, just because sitting up in the living room's not it right now. So that's going to go away, but it's really nice for now. I am finally going to start Beverly Hills Housewives. I've been dying to get it started. So anyways, I just put together 2 baskets. Thankfully, Dave works from home and he can really help me. But this cart is nice. It slides under the bed so I can have it across me like you do at the hospital. So that'll be nice. I've used that to eat, but I've just got my little self-care basket here along with my medicine, my hormone replacement. I got to call the doctor and find out about that. But just some nausea medicine and then my pain meds for now, hopefully switching again to ibuprofen soon. And then I just wanted to have a little snack basket. Wasn't really sure how I was going to feel about food. Things could definitely change, but my body, like it usually does when I'm healing, is craving nutrients and good healthy options and protein, and so much of that I really just think speaks to my lifestyle and how I've changed my diet. Yeah, I've like zero interest in like any kind of junk food or anything like that. Like I really just want to eat super well. But of course, I've got some chocolates too. So yeah, I've just got some little bars and things. These Simple Truth protein bars have me in like a straight chokehold right now. They're so good. Some bananas and just some stuff here. So got everything I need beside me so that when I get back in bed, I can, yeah, just wheel this around and get what I need. So probably gonna get back in bed and get some rest actually. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Over.
Roger.
Love you. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's my fault.
Hello.
It'll be a voiceover, so. Okay, it is day 4 post-op from my hysterectomy, and I literally have been saying it's day 3 all day, which really goes to speak to kind of how I'm feeling. Like mentally, things are still a mess. I've had enough surgeries, unfortunately, at this point to know that the anesthesia messes with my brain. Even getting off of like the hardcore pain meds, which I did a couple of days ago now, it's still like a scrambled egg situation. And yeah, so it is day 4 post-op, and I figured I'd go ahead and record for the vlog how I'm doing and also go back through. I obviously videoed day 1, the day after post-op. Day 2 was rough. That was the day that I decided no more pain meds. I had taken some in the night, but I really wanted to switch to just ibuprofen and Tylenol and alternating those. The faster I can get off pain meds, the better. I just don't like how they make me feel. And also the longer you're on them, like the harder it is to kind of come off. So got off of those, and therefore like I was still in a good amount of pain and not just feeling great, but made that switch 10 out of 10, no regrets. The biggest source of my pain was obviously just the nerve block wearing off and my body waking up. I really was feeling the effects of like my incisions and everything that had happened internally. Some of that was blocked in day 1. There's like a euphoria still and drug phase, like fog and all of that. So anyways, body was waking up and coming off the pain meds. It was just kind of an ugly mess. On top of the fact that I had not gone to the bathroom yet. And if you know, you know, that first one after is like what you're trying to work towards. And so that whole day was just a lot of like sleep, restlessness, not feeling great. I had put my estrogen patch on the night before, but I hadn't really slept well at all. And so day 2 was just kind of ugly, not a lot to report. Now yesterday, day 3, much better, much better. Woke up and I still had not slept great. Falling asleep and like staying asleep wasn't going well. The falling asleep part was feeling really difficult. And then also both nights I woke up at 3 a.m. just wide awake. So with that, still woke up not feeling great from that, but I was feeling better overall, like the pain, much better managing. And I had gone to the bathroom and several times like was just feeling like some of the pressure and fullness and all of that from needing to go to the bathroom was taken care of. So in general, yesterday was a lot better. I sat up a lot more. I kind of stood up and walked around a lot more. Food was a little bit better yesterday. And even like yesterday evening, I was feeling pretty solid, not super tired, just still trying to have to like remind myself to relax. I am supposed to be resting. I kind of had an anxiety moment of like I am so used to being productive. This is really hard. But I had invited my mom over because I know like having some social time is really important, especially right now. We're headed into an ice storm and I was going to feel super isolated. And we don't have the boys this weekend. So just getting a little social time. I invited her over to do mocktails, charcuterie, and watch the Beverly Hills Housewives. So she did that and that was super nice. It really like filled my cup. And before she came over, I also switched my patch. We had gotten the patch wrong. My doctor had called in just an estrogen patch, which, you know, I really hadn't had like any issues. I was feeling okay. But the sleep was an issue. I was supposed to be on an estrogen and progesterone patch. So I got to put that on about 30 minutes before my mom came. I took a shower, put the patch on. Within 30 minutes, I am not kidding, I felt different. I cannot even explain the feeling that came over me. Was just like a wash of sort of like calmness. And it wasn't like, I don't even know that I can explain it. It wasn't anything crazy except to say, I almost felt very grounded. I felt very calm and just sort of centered, grounded. Like I really don't even know what to like call it. I almost just felt kind of like myself. I was kind of laughing and joking and I don't know, it didn't feel forced. It felt really natural. And I felt this calmness in my body that I was like, I'm going to sleep tonight. And not from feeling tired. It wasn't like, oh, I've been in this sleep deficit. It was like, no, I literally am like, I'm calm enough. There's this like euphoric feeling of like, I'm going to rest peacefully tonight. So anyways, it was really nice, like feeling that. So we watched a show, then Dave and I watched a show after she left and it came bedtime about 10 o'clock, put my phone down, didn't even scroll, fell right asleep. I did wake up in the night, but that is because I am still battling some sort of sinus gunk congestion thing that I've literally had since November. At this point, it's just like allergy related, we think, but that woke me up in the night because of postnasal drip. However, I'm telling you, I slept really hard and really well, and I just have not had that. So that was amazing. Woke up this morning, I slept until like 7, woke up and felt really good. The only thing that's like honestly getting me here on day 4 is my sinus stuff. I've got some aches and pains. I just took a shower. I've definitely got some like aches and pains. I can feel certain things healing, like literally healing internally. My incisions are sore, but honestly, like not a lot of issues. It's really just this, like having this sinus stuff on top of it. I've had really bad brain fog. I finally just caved and like took some medicine, used my inhaler. So hoping that all of that starts to get better. I can kind of feel it easing up. But yeah, day 4 so far has actually been pretty good. And I think I'd actually be feeling a lot better if it wasn't for all of this. So I am feeling kind of tired today. I've actually been pretty much in bed. This is like the first time taking a shower and just kind of getting up. Dave made some taco soup that I had him put together since we are about to have this big snowstorm, ice storm. I'm like, let's make that. That way he can reheat that for me all weekend. And not really worry about cooking too much, but I think I'm just gonna get back in bed and relax. Kind of just wanted to give an update. I'm actually, again, like feeling pretty solid. Day 4, it's really kind of mentally that's kind of messing with me. Just forward thinking into the future. I'm like, I get nervous as like a high achiever, overachiever. It's like, like the thought of like getting back to normal work, like going in my office is like kind of makes me anxious because I'm just so not ready to like sit up and work or any of that. I can work from the bed a bit, but yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be my normal self for a hot minute and just getting like anxious about like, oh, I've got to get back to work. And that's so silly. I took 2 full weeks off like for a reason, minus just supporting my clients and creating some content and stuff. There's nothing to rush back to. And so I don't even need to worry about it. But honestly, since I put the patch on, this like new patch, I actually feel pretty calm about all of that as well. So yeah, I'm gonna get back in bed and rest, and we're gonna wait for this snow/ice storm. Who knows? All the times we've heard that there's gonna be like a crazy ice storm and nothing happens, but I'm gonna wait for that and just keep relaxing, and I'll do another check-in video soon. Guys, so today is day 7 post-op, and I'm not gonna lie, the last couple days were kind of rough. So I can't remember at what point I updated, but I was feeling really good. I was like standing over here in the kitchen and feeling pretty awesome. And then I made some critical mistakes. Mistake number 1 was because I was feeling so good, I took that as a sign to back off of the alternating ibuprofen and Tylenol schedule that I was on that was like very regimented every 3 hours, and that did not turn out so well for me. I also kind of developed some like acid reflux from taking the Tylenol and ibuprofen. So the second half of day 5 was pretty rough, but the sleep that night was enough to make me feel like I'm freaking out. Like, it was not good. And I've had surgery before. I know how it goes. You're gonna have those bad nights, bad days. Healing is truly not linear. And especially in the case of a surgery this major, all of my, kind of surgeries have been easier than this one. I wasn't having like full blown, reproductive systems, organ systems removed from my body. So yeah, learned some critical lessons. That sleep was just so bad. And then yesterday was day 6 and it was rough too. Kind of just like fixing the mistakes that I made, getting back on the schedule with the Tylenol and ibuprofen, getting some Pepcid to help with the acid reflux. And then last night I took a really specific approach to bedtime and like creating a wind down routine. I kind of realized I got to get off of social media a little bit. Obviously, for work, I have to be on there some, but I really, like mental health wise, there's just a lot going on right now. And I was like, I gotta unplug for my own sake. I was starting to get to kind of like a dark place mentally, having not slept, being in pain, trying to recover. So I ended up stepping away and just watched some YouTube videos, which YouTube is literally my favorite social channel because it's just all good vibes for me. I really pick what I want to watch. I have my favorite creators that feel like comfort creators. And so turned on YouTube, turned down the lights, lit a candle, drank some peppermint tea and started relaxing. And this was after getting back on that, pain management schedule yesterday. And literally last night was so much better. I am having this witching hour at 3 o'clock where I'm waking up. Not sure if that's hormonal or what's going on there, but honestly, I think it's really just healing my digestive system, still kind of off track and things like that, waking me up, but I slept so much better. And today is day 7. It's also Monday. I had my surgery literally 1 week ago today, and we've got some snow. Let me see if I can show you. We've got the snowstorm that has been going on, and the boys were supposed to come home today, but we actually decided, me and their stepmom and Dave and their dad, they're gonna stay over there until Wednesday, which is normally when they would flip back, just so that we can kind of continue to rest and keep things kind of quiet over here, give me a couple more days to regain some strength and feeling better, but also because they're out of school. We're stuck inside because of the snowstorm. So they would just be stuck like with their, Xbox over here in their rooms, and Dave's taking care of me so much right now that it's kind of like probably just not the best. So all that to say, I'm just getting a little bit of work done. This is actually my first time sitting in my office and kind of sitting up. Actually, I've actually not really sat up much. Just wanted to kind of like avoid pressure. I haven't felt like I could sit up very well. Obviously I'm like angled sitting up in bed, but yeah, first time sitting in a chair. I'm actually working on just some stuff right now, getting today's podcast episode with Camille out. I'll link this one in the show notes, you guys. Camille's episode, so good. She is such an icon. And so yeah, I'm feeling a little bit better today, but I also know well enough to know that I gotta stay on top of my pain med schedule. We wrote it out so that I can take my medicine and also just take it easy. I do have a little bit of work that I want to do here at the computer, but I'm getting right back in bed. I am not pushing this healing timeline. I refuse to do it. I think it's helpful that this snowstorm and doing it in the winter happened. If it was nice and pretty in spring right now, I think this would be a lot harder for me, but honestly, my body is telling me what it needs, and so I'm listening and resting. So I'm just gonna get a little bit of work done here. I'm hoping that things continue on an upward trend, but I also know with healing, things are not linear, so could have some more bad days. I will probably have some more bad days, but I'm gonna take advantage of having a good day, drink a little coffee, do a little bit of work, and then get back in bed and rest.
Sing it.
This is probably B-roll, probably will turn on.
So I can pretend like I'm doing it solo.
Oh, my terrible toes are showing. We gotta cut those out. Hold on. I mean, you've got to. Guys. Breathing tube. This feel like such a big deal. A lot of gas. Oh no, stop. 1 mile? What?
For real?
Yeah, I hadn't been in here. I don't know. Maybe Day 13 post-op, and really just wanted to give a little bit of an update for where I'm at. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit out of breath because today is like the most that I have done. Really, I feel like day 9 is when things started to like fully turn a corner. Like day 8, 9 were better. Day 10, 11, 12, and now today 13, really just feeling so much better. This morning I actually got up, I recorded a podcast, which felt really good. It's like the longest I've sat up at my desk and like really sitting upright. As you can tell, I'm like slumped over now. But I did that. I actually drove, which I don't know why I was so nervous to drive. I mean, to be fair, we've got like ice on our roads still, so I don't like driving in that anyways. But yeah, I was just like kind of nervous to drive. Like my doctor told me I could drive as soon as the pain meds wore off and I felt like kind of comfortable. But to be honest, I don't really think I felt comfortable until this point. So went and Dave and I picked up groceries from our Walmart. That was good. And then I honestly felt so good. I came home and did some prep. I had originally thought like some of that food that I was gonna pick up that I would prep like tomorrow, Sunday, before the week kicks off. But I was like, I'm already up, I'm feeling good. So yeah, I went ahead and did that. And now my in-laws are coming from out of town. My mother-in-law is bringing enchiladas that she made, so I don't have to worry about like getting out, which is really nice. I'm glad we're just gonna like stay home and be chill. But yeah, I mean, feeling pretty good here. Honestly, biggest thing is just I get tired. Like I get really tired really easily. Yesterday, like I did a couple things in the morning, took a shower, and like that was it. I was in bed like the rest of the day. And so really it's like the energy levels. I've got like random aches and pains for sure. Like I can feel the internal healing. I would say probably the worst of the healing pain is actually my core, the incisions from that, and like every time I kind of move or like stretch, like I'll feel in my core some pain. Really my lower back from my core being so weak. I remember this from all my past surgeries. And not being able to like move and exercise, and like there's just so much that I do in my daily life that, makes me feel good that I don't get to do right now. And so speaking of that, this week, like the boys go back to school. They've been out because of snow. It will be, like headed into my like third week of healing. And I would love to regain a little normalcy. I see my doctor on Tuesday, and I'm hoping that she will kind of clear me. She's really just checking my incisions. I don't see her until 6 weeks at the very beginning of March to actually get cleared for like weightlifting and all of that. But I'm hoping that she clears me to start walking. I would love to like build a little stamina with walking. I have my walking pad, so I don't know if that's best. I love to walk, and especially right now, like kind of feeling like I want to get out of the house at our local like rec center that has like basketball. Like the boys will play basketball, or while I'll walk the track on the top. I would love to just kind of start like slowly building up my energy and moving, even if it was just like literally 10 or 15 minutes. I think the only thing I'm a little bit nervous about in this moment is the stairs. I don't know. So anyways, there's that. Also, Dave is leaving out of town. He's got some stuff to do in Northwest Arkansas. So that'll happen Tuesday night. So I'm gonna have to really gain a little more independence, although my mom and my dad and really like everyone is like, we'll come take care of you. But I don't know, I kind of feel ready to kind of get back to the thing. So just wanted to pop in a little update. Day 14, which is yesterday, I went for my first walk outside. It snowed here and all the ice, and so I finally got to kind of like get outside and walk. I'm actually getting ready to do that right now. And I walked for 35 minutes. I'm gonna be honest, I probably should have just done like 20 or 25. By the end, my legs were really tired, but overall, like just felt so good. And while I can still feel myself healing and I still get exhausted and tired, I feel so much better. So this is the part where I feel like I need to talk about how that long list of things that I just listed has dramatically improved. In fact, I'll tie this into, I just saw my doctor for my 2-week post-op, and I just looked at her and I'm just like, do your patients come to you and tell you that this was life-changing? Does HRT, is this life-changing for everyone? Is it just me? Am I just on a cloud? Am I gonna get knocked off? And so let me kind of tie this all in. Number one, my pathology came back as unremarkable. My doctor did not see any endometriosis in there, which is good. I did have that back in May of last year, but no new had grown. I did have like a little like adhesion, but we think that also could have been from the surgery before. And so nothing like remarkable at all. Now, I did have a big cyst and it had just ruptured. So I was full of fluid, which explains why I was feeling so bad at the end there. But again, I was feeling that way every single month when these cysts were rupturing. But overall, like I really didn't have anything remarkable when it came to pathology. And what my doctor said was so validating. You know, your experience with these, ovarian cysts and with all of this is unique to you. This was your pain. This was real. And so it just felt so validating because there were so many things that improved dramatically right away. Number one, that pain that I had that shot down my leg, I'll never forget looking at the nurse in the hospital and being like literally, I'm like 30 minutes out of surgery and I'm like looking at her and I'm like, the first time I walked, I'm like, I have no sciatic pain. I've had this for a year. It's gone. The racing heart, gone. Like I can't even put into words how it's just gone. My heart rate is so steady. It's so calm. And do the research on like estrogen and all of this because you'll see. But again, the thing with a lot of this is everybody's different. Like I'm on progesterone. Some people cannot do progesterone at all. For me, it really just makes things so much better. My sleep, I am sleeping straight through the night. I'm not waking up to go to the bathroom, not once. My mental fog is, I'm coming out of anesthesia, but every single day it is clearer and clearer. I'm not tiring out and fatigued like I was. I can't even believe I'm gonna say this part, but the post-nasal drip and sinus stuff that I had, I mean, to be determined, but I had it so chronically for months, it's gone. Even though I'm still swollen, my inflammation is already down so much. And the hard bump that I've had for so long is like instantly, it was just gone. Like my stomach is just flat. I have body fat on my stomach, but I don't have that hard pregnant bump anymore. Pelvic pain, aside from like healing aches and pains, totally gone. Digestive issues, definitely every single time I have surgery, this takes so long to get back to normal. So we'll have to see about that one. But I'm not having like the nausea and some of the stuff that I was having before, again, at all. Aside from checking my temp a little bit when I was coming out of those first few days of surgery, and also my heart rate, because I was just so mind blown that after a year of like intense heartbeats and palpitations, suddenly my heart just feels so like calm and steady. Like definitely checked my heart rate some the first couple of days. I did check my temp. I was definitely a little bit worried about like infection and stuff. But aside from all of that, like no health anxiety, no Googling, no like body scans, no like checking. Like all of these things that came on just in the last year, it's gone. Just like this video will end up being so long if I sit here and talk about the amount of improvement. And obviously for me, like my situation is so different, but I just would urge any woman who feels different and knows that something is off to find a doctor who doesn't just treat based off of labs. That was something my doctor said that stood out to me so much, because I said, well, my labs, and she's like, we don't really lab. She was like, we treat based on symptoms, and those doctors exist. And I'm telling you, find them. I feel like for me, hormone replacement therapy is going to be life-changing. I know that there are doctors out there that will listen and won't, require you to have surgical menopause in order to get on hormone replacement therapy. All I can say is look into it. So everything looked great on her end. She looked at my incisions. I mean, I just told her about all of these like autoimmune like issues, improvements, my sleep, the heart rate thing, to which she said, estrogen and how it affects your heart. Like you're balanced now. And that's what she kept saying. For me, I did so well on that IUD, and the progesterone that's in my patch is the exact same progesterone that was in the IUD. So I have full faith and belief that we're just going to continue to improve and feel better and better. I literally do every single day. Again, I think mine was a little bit multifactorial, right? These are complex issues that cannot be so simplified as, oh, what Hillary's going through is exactly what I'm going through. But I'm just so thankful that I advocated for myself. I mean, I'm okay with the fact that I exhausted all the other options and waited, but if I'm being totally honest, as somebody who doesn't do regret a lot, I do regret not doing this sooner, because this did steal like way too much of my life. But I refuse to let it steal anymore, which is why I asked my doctor, okay, what are my restrictions? Obviously, there are some things you cannot do in the first 6 weeks, but I'm like, what can I do? Because your girl is ready to go, and I'm still resting and healing and all the things, but she cleared me. I can walk as much as I want. If I start feeling bad, I gotta take it slow, rest, and then, come back. So not overdoing it, but I can get walking, no running, no lifting anything more than 15 pounds for the next month. When I go to my 6-week checkup, she'll look at everything internal and check me off for that. So I'm really excited about that. But for now, I'm just gonna walk. I have dialed back into my diet. And also I ordered some lighter weights. I was like, can I do like Pilates weights? And she was like, yeah, go for it. I was like, I can do stretching? Yeah, go for it. So I don't even know what that looks like, because I'm not like a Pilates stretchy girly, but I really just want to do anything to get this body moving, start getting back towards my goals. So we've got those coming. We'll get some Pilates weights in, some stretching, start regaining my strength and stamina and energy levels. And she said I can travel, I can really be pretty much normal, just the no lifting heavy, no high intensity or anything like that. Whew, okay, that was a lot. I'm gonna wrap this video up. So my plan for getting back in my healthiest, hottest, fittest bod really begins with rebuilding my stamina and my energy this month. I know I'm still healing, so I'm not trying to, make any miracles happen. So getting back to walking, using those light weights, just kind of getting back to like normal. And then with my diet, kind of just getting back into logging. I will be going into a bit of a body recomp, fat loss, muscle building season once I can get back in the gym at the beginning of March. So I kind of want to just lay the foundation for that now, start logging. I'm not in a deficit or trying to do anything with that right now, but really just that foundational stuff, protein, fiber, fueling my body, and not being ridiculous with my calories, starting to just kind of like dial that in. So that is my focus for February. I've already mapped out March, April, and May, the months really leading up to Memorial Day, and March will be all about really building my strength. April is going to be all about intensity, and then May is like that final push for summer. So I couldn't be more excited to continue to document this journey and show my rebuild. If you are wanting to, rebuild your goal body, build your goal body for the first time, I'm going to be showing how I'm doing that, practical things that you can apply as well. So we're totally in this together, even if my journey right now looks a little bit different than yours with the healing. Come next month, we're going to be on the same page. So follow along for sure if you are interested. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions or anything, obviously I am an open book. So feel free to reach out to me, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.